Welcome to the Axe Life podcast. I'm your host, Dillon. With me is my co-host, Vinnie.
Hi, I'm Vinnie.
We got Aaron back there producing for us. Give us a little shout out.
Oh, yeah, that's me in the back, producer.
We are here in the Axe Life studio located in beautiful Augusta, Georgia. And we're going to be talking about all things axe throwing.
Real axe talk.
Real axe talk.
So that includes what?
So basically, we're going to be talking about tournaments, throwers. We're going to be highlighting different throwers. We're going to be talking about venues. We're going to be talking about, you're a venue owner.
Yeah, there's a lot of different topics that I would pull into a podcast in order to know more about the business aspects of running a venue.
Yeah, we're going to touch on all of it. But to give you a little bit of info about myself, I'm a manager at Broad Axe Throwing here in Augusta, Georgia. I've been throwing for about 2 years. I want to say that I'm super competitive, but, still working my way up there.
Yeah. And I'm the owner at Broad Axe Throwing, also just an overall entrepreneur. I've been throwing about the same amount of time as Dillon competitively, even though we've hosted axe throwing at Broad Axe since 2017. It wasn't until about 2 years ago that we jumped into running leagues and doing competitive axe throwing at our beautiful venue in Augusta, Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the things that we're going to be doing are also talking to other axe throwers in the community, which
right.
I think is a great segue into our first segment.
Our first guest that we will have on the axe throwing podcast here.
There's guys out there that are just throwing fire, that are names that we're going to be the first to talk about, okay? And we have the privilege of having one of those guys on the podcast today. Let's go to graphic one. We're going to introduce to you Colton Askew. He is a pro WATL thrower. I think he's rocking about a 57.7 average right now in this fall league. He throws out of American Axes in Marietta. I would love to welcome to the show Colton Askew. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me on, you guys. I've been looking forward to doing this with y'all.
Thank you.
It's really cool. So thanks for having me on.
Thank you for wearing your Masters of Axes tournament winner jacket. It's
I'm out here to represent.
Oh, thank you.
It looks good.
It looks good. Yeah, still looking good.
Yeah, man.
It's like the second time you wore it, other than the day. I would wear that. I would wear it to Walmart, man. I'd be wearing it everywhere.
I actually have plans to take this out for a nice dinner. After I won that tournament, my girlfriend and I have been making plans, and I've just got to get it. I've got to get the rest of an outfit together.
Yeah, sounds good.
To wear it.
Sounds good. So you've been tell us, how long have you been throwing axes?
I've been throwing axes about 3-ish years. I learned when I was in college. I moved out to Atlanta. I got the job at American Axes. At that point in time, we were just a beer league. I kind of made it my goal to be the best thrower at the venue. And then last year, I started throwing. I threw a couple WATL leagues, and I threw Masters of Axes the first time last year, as well as a couple other tournaments. And then I got pushed American Axes into affiliation this year, and then I've been throwing all this year. So
awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
For those of you that don't know, Masters of Axes is the preeminent tournament in the Southeast out of Augusta, Georgia, Broad Axe Throwing. So I'm glad that we can mention that. So, so recently, so you made pro. You're throwing your face off, and that last tournament that you threw was a WATL Tier 1. It was at Lizzy's in Colorado, the Fall River 40. Tell us about that tournament.
That was a lot of fun. It was a really well done tournament. Garrett Hennigan and Zach Silver, they did a great job. The venue was awesome. I ended up coming in fourth, which, not not due to throwing bad, just not throwing good enough and being outthrown by the other guy. I made it out of my bracket in A, went to the finals. I ended up playing Lucas first, who he put 264s on me back to back in match one. Which is what's funny about that is that I didn't know that he'd thrown 64s until the match ended.
Oh,
like the match ended and I like turned around and I was like, damn, I lost. And my friend just looks at me and goes, dude, he just put 264s on you. It's okay. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh. I was
yeah. What are you
well.
gonna do?
I was like, well, I didn't know that. I just knew I was down by like 1 or 2 points. Went on to play David Corley after that. I ended up winning that one by the skin of my teeth and luck. And then I played Sam Carter, who put me out. We went 3 games in that match, down to overtime. So, you know, again, I can't be mad about my performance. I would have loved to have gone farther, but you know, I got put out by the best of the best. So, you know,
It happens.
ain't no thing.
Yeah, you're in the money, right?
Yeah, I was in the money, which was awesome. So
Racked up
You know.
some circuit points as well. So what is your path, your journey to the World Championships looking at right now? Do you have a beer? Do you have a beer? Do you have a
I
bid yet?
wish. I also wish about that. I actually do not have a bid yet. I was put out last season for a pro bid by, I think, like 4 or 5 places and a couple of points. This season, I actually threw a marathon earlier in the week. I threw my best league ever. So I think by the end of this season, I'll have a bid.
Okay.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you're up there circuit point wise anyway. So I think you're probably.
Yeah, I mean, even if
Yeah.
I don't get the pro bid at the end of the season, I'll probably get it off circuit points.
Yep. And do you like qualifying throws? I mean, what do you think of qualifying throws as a method for your entrance into the World Championships?
That's honestly something hard for me to speak on because I've never been to Worlds.
Okay.
This would be my first year to go. But I mean, the way the rules read, I mean, qualifying throws is a fine way to get there. It just seeds you really, really low.
Yeah.
If I'm reading that correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I also think, I mean, this is my personal opinion, but I think it should just be the top 256 throwers, like overall out of circuit points.
Well, I mean, so it behooves you to go to more tournaments, rack up circuit
Right.
points. But, you know, people have weekend jobs.
Yeah.
So, especially venue owners, venue managers like yourself, Colton. I mean, you can't. How many tournaments have you gone to? That was
Gone
your
to
first out of
this-
state.
Yeah, this year I did President's Day in Nashville was the first one I did this year. And then I did Masters of Axes in Augusta, which both were tier 3s. So,
Yeah.
you know, I only get circuit points for one of those.
Did you win your President's Day Cup?
I did not.
Okay.
No. I put Lucas in B bracket my first game, and then I just completely, like, I couldn't get over the fact that I beat Lucas, and then I just like couldn't pull it together for my next 2 games.
Understandable.
Then I came down, I won Masters of Axes, which was awesome. That was my first tournament win. And then
You couldn't have beat a better guy for that jacket.
I know I really
yeah,
couldn't have.
yeah,
you know,
couldn't have
Vincent
In-
Ingallinera.
It's not gonna win the jacket again.
Some bald-headed,
Yeah.
weird guy.
Yeah, man, that dude can throw some fire, man.
Yeah, thanks.
You know.
Appreciate it.
And then I did pro league series just because I wanted to go. I wanted to go and see how I stacked up with everybody else, and then I did Lizzy's. So I've done 4 tournaments all year, and only 3 of them counted for circuit points. but really only 2 of them count for circuit points because 2 of them were tier 3s, if that makes sense.
Right.
It does. So the
Yeah.
kind of the trifecta you want to go for is, so you took first in a tier 3. Best case scenario was to make it to a tier 2 and to rack up something other than 1 point, and then have a fourth place finish in Lizzy's a tier 1, and I'm sure that you're nearly maxing out circuit points in most of your leagues, so you're looking good for the World Championships.
Yeah. I probably won't make it to a tier 2, but even if I don't, like, it shouldn't really hurt me.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think I'm getting the pro bid. I got a lot of faith in myself to get it this season, so I don't even know that I'll meet the circuit points. But yeah, I mean, as far as qualifying throws, it does give throwers who can't go and just rack up points a chance to get there.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Like, I think if you're gonna go to a tournament at all, that's the one you want to go to. It's gonna have the best of the best there, and going to any kind of tournament it makes you a better thrower. Like, whether or not you actually play the people who force you to focus and get better, like, just in the moment, you get to go watch those people, and that's I mean, you can always pick something up from somebody else. Just watching them, even if you can't pull them aside to ask them.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too. Yeah.
I mean, you and I played each other last year at the Masters. That was the first time playing against you, and it was neck and neck. And then you just kind of broken through the stratosphere. And how did you do it? Because I'm still right there trying to get through.
He's like, what are the trade
secrets? What are the secrets?
I mean, the trade secrets are just, number one, I practiced a lot. And then number 2, it's just finding what works for you. Like, whenever I first started out, anybody who would give me the time of day, especially at like tournaments or marathons where I didn't know people, I'd just pull them aside and I'd be like, hey man, so I noticed that you do this during your throw. Why do you do that? And why do you think it works for you? Or like, you seem to have your anchor point like somewhere back by your ear. Like, is there a reason for that? Why do you do that? Is it comfortability? Do you think it makes you throw better? Just start picking people's brain, and then you take what they say and you either apply it or you go, well, that's tried a few times. You go, that didn't work for me, and you get rid of it, And eventually, I just kind of like made my own amalgamation of a bunch of shit that people told me, and just started practicing it. And then there were days where I wouldn't leave the store until I'd thrown a 64.
Wow. That's some dedication, right?
Well,
there.
That's the same strategy that I've heard in an interview with Dillon Teets. I think Ken down there or somebody said basically don't care how long it takes, don't leave until you throw a 64. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you're getting paid to do it, it's probably
yeah. It's not as bad whenever I'm getting paid to be there anyway. So
right.
Like, I might as well throw.
Yeah.
I might be here till 3 a.m. tonight trying to throw 64. Just all
right, lock up when you're done, man. Change the board when you're done. Well, thank you so much, Colton Askew, for joining us on the Axe Live podcast. You're our first thrower spotlight. Couldn't have happened to a better guy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. You know that you guys have a special place with me. Gotta love my Broadaxe family. So
beautiful. All right. Well, thank you, Colton. We love you, and good luck in your future throwing. And we'll
look
see
forward to seeing you at
all right.
Worlds.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was great having Colton on. He's a great thrower, really cool guy.
He's a very, very cool guy.
Those are pretty nice shades. Where'd you get those?
Well, it's the Axe Life. Axe Life shades.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're I don't know if you could see that, but it's like bamboo, nice stylish sunglasses.
Like what pandas eat?
Yeah, what pandas eat.
Okay.
I've had them attack my face to try to get to my sunglasses, thinking it was 100% real bamboo. But yeah, I got them from the axelifegear.com. You ever been there?
I've never been to that website.
Dude, they have all sorts of t-shirts. They've got bamboo coasters, keychains, sunglasses. Like I on the sly snuck the website, like made sure that my girlfriend knew that this website existed, because I know that she's gonna be. It's October, so you know what's coming.
Christmas is right around the corner.
Right around the corner. So I know that she's going to be. I'll probably have the full bevy of Axe Life Gear stuff.
Check out axelifegear.com. You know, Christmas, axe throwers, they need stuff.
They need stuff. We want stuff. We always want stuff.
That is true.
axelifegear.com.
Preferably free.
Of course, they're the sponsor of episode 1 here, and we're grateful to the Axe Life Gear for that. So thank you, Axe Life Gear.
Thank you. All right, now we're going to jump into our next segment. It's going to be a personal favorite of mine, I believe. But without further ado, we are jumping into the comment section.
All right, today's comment section is actually, I think a lot of axe throwers are talking about this particular one. And the comment section is, long and short of it is the sport declining? The popularity of the sport declining. So if you want to, Aaron, pull up graphic 2.
Yeah, I got you.
All right. So we don't know what the social faux pas are of actually putting people's names out there, so we blocked off their names on the comment. It doesn't matter. But nonetheless, what I found interesting about this particular very interactive thread on the Facebooks and the axe throwing interwebs is that all of a sudden we went from the simple question of, is the sport in decline,
Right,
to people pointing out the WATL 2024 rules changes. It was like some sort of causation. If you want to pull it back up, I think I put them in yellow. It was like, yeah, the sport's in decline. Those damn new rule changes, you know. And it was like, well, look, I don't think that the two are related.
It's not that I don't think that they're related. I think that it's kind of, for certain people, it's kind of like the final straw for them, essentially.
Okay.
Would you like me to read some of those highlighted segments?
Yeah.
All right, so we got one that says the rule changes aren't friendly to bringing in new throwers, and old throwers are dropping like flies. Someone else says a lot of people are very unhappy with the changes and the general handling of it. We'll see what happens. Someone else replies, I joined the league a year or so ago and really enjoyed it, but over time the number of things involving WATL, ESPN, pandering, business, tactics, new rules, and WATL behavior around them and social media have kind of soured me to the sport in general. That was just a couple.
It's a mouthful.
Well, that's anecdotal. I mean, so, okay, I think, but what I found interesting was that all of a sudden, no matter what issue is brought up in the axe throwing world, I feel like people are just going to go say, yeah, it's because of the 2024 rules. Now, like them, don't like them, whatever, the general public doesn't have any clue what's going on with WATL's rule changes. If they come into a venue and see that the board has changed or something like that, depending on how venue owners want to handle putting that board out there to the public, or are they just going to use a simpler board for casual throwers to come in and drink beer and create just an old school game with their friends. But right now, the decline of the sport, if you will, is, I don't know if you could just go ahead and start tying the two things together. If anything, I would say that perhaps it would be the venue's marketing. And all these comments are anecdotal. Have we seen a decline in our leagues?
I mean, we've actually seen a boost
Yeah.
from league season to league season. I mean, typically summer does seem to attract less throwers, but we did improve from our first summer to this summer.
Yeah. So, but historically, this thread is coming right at the end of summer, if you will.
Right.
And so I think if you asked a lot of venue owners, are you seeing a decrease in patronage at your venue? The first thing I would say is, yeah, we see it every summer.
Right.
So I don't know if you're conflating the two. But also it's, okay, well, we haven't seen an increase of popularity of axe throwing because somebody saw it on ESPN or something like that. I'll give you that. They're not like, hey, I needed to be a part of this sport because of this. I think that it's really dependent on your market and how well did you do as a venue owner to get it out there yourself. So that's the venue owner's perspective of there. Now, can the league assist in pushing the sport forward with the resources that they have and the reach that they have into the ESPN community and stuff like that? Can we get more things out into the mainstream? Perhaps.
Right.
But I think what it is really two separate conversations. Talk about the reasons why perhaps the sport is declining, and then the rule changes and how it impacts the current throwers that are competitive axe throwers within WATL is a totally separate conversation. We could have them both.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I just see as far as decline. I mean, and you can see it in the comment sections. Other people bringing it up, but the tournaments, like going to the tournaments, like it's costing some people like an arm and a leg to want to go to a tournament. And then if they win, they're holding up a check for maybe like $200. And so, and it's and that's not putting any flack on the venue owners. Like we've run 2 tournaments. I know everything that has to go into putting on a tournament.
mm-hmm.
You're losing revenue from not being able to have customers on days that you're having tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's definitely a disconnect.
Yeah, but we increase our beer sales.
We do increase the beer sales. Shout out Brian Cox.
Shout out Brian Cox.
Bud Light. But I mean, a lot of people are saying that it's detracted them from going to tournaments, basically.
I'll tell you a real story my girlfriend and I were discussing going to a tournament. And so it was a little bit further away. So it was going to be an airline ticket, a hotel stay,
Right.
and then it was a PLS, right, Pro League Series, but I would have been throwing on the amateur side because I hadn't got my pro bid yet. And so we're looking at the payout and stuff like that. And after adding up the cost of the airline ticket and the hotel, even if I won the amateur side of the tournament, wouldn't have covered the cost of the tournament. And so she was like, so this is an ego thing, right? And I was like, well, no, it's, you say what you have to say, which is, no, it's for love of the sport.
Love of the sport.
Love of the sport. And she was like, you're going for an ego thing. And I was like, yeah, 100%. That would be an ego thing. And honestly, it was just a little bit too cost prohibitive, and I didn't end up going. But it's so what? We're talking, we need bigger prize pools.
Yes, we definitely need bigger prize pools.
But then the onus of that is it falls back on the venue. It's like if you want to run it, then the venue didn't do well enough in order to get sponsors in order to bolster the prize pool, or what?
We know, like, we went out and got a bunch of different sponsors, but also at the end of the day, they're local sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
They can't shell out insane amounts of money.
Right.
and they're really only getting their local advertising. So it's kind of hard to attract a bigger sponsor unless there's a way to kind of get, I think, maybe tournaments on a more mainstream platform.
Yep, I agree with you. So, I mean, at what level though?
I mean, as far as like WATL stands, I would say like a tier 2 and a tier 1 tournament, you would want that. I mean, Twitch is like a great example, right?
Mm-hmm.
All these kids sit there and they watch gamers play games for like 10 hours.
Yeah.
And some of these guys have like 40,000 people watching them.
Yeah.
So you could use a platform like that
Sure.
to bring in an audience and advertise and get marketing deals with, you know.
But each individual venue pulling that off
Right,
can't. So, in my opinion, I
You
think
need
it
a
would
committee.
and maybe it would behoove the larger league in order to assist the venues in setting that up. So, use our big platform that's more mainstream than say your local platform, and that way we can help you garner larger sponsors.
Right.
Yeah. So I think in the short term that might, or at least building that business model might be a good solution to that. And then the second half of the comments section is, blaming everything on the rules. So it's challenging. And I think somebody said, we'll see next year. We'll see. I think that, throwers are going to take it into consideration, basically answering the one question that they have for themselves is, do I want to throw this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely completely altering the game for sure.
Yeah, it's a different game.
But for a lot of throwers, though, I mean, especially people who maybe are just now kind of starting to see a rise, and now they're gonna have to switch things up.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
This is the consensus that I've been getting from, because I'm kind of addicted to the comments section. Okay, so the consensus that I'm kind of getting out of it is everybody's like, look, we don't have a problem with more stuff to throw at.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it's more of a challenge. It's more skillful, and at the end of the day, it's a lot more fun to be able to go away from just your 3 pieces of muscle memory that you've achieved,
Right.
and then have additional pieces that that you're throwing for. The argument that it makes it more watchable, there might be a little component to that. Maybe it'll be more fun to watch when people are throwing at more stuff, but more watchable to the casual Sunday sitting on the couch thrower stumbling across axe throwing on ESPN2 and saying, "Oh, this is so much better than last year because these guys aren't just throwing for the bullseye." I don't know if it makes it more fun to watch. It might, just based on the testing that we did here. It's more fun to watch because we're axe throwers. But
Right.
What about the lay person? You think it's more fun?
I mean, I think there's a lot more. I mean, based off of the I know the rules aren't technically like finalized yet, but what we've been able to see, like, there's a lot of detail kind of going into, like, okay, if you hit this, it's closed, but if you hit it again, and there's differences at tournaments versus leagues, so it's kind of hard to for a viewer watching. I guess they're not going to know about the league side of things,
Right.
But
But sitting down, like, let's just say that you're the axe thrower and you're the axe throwing fan, okay?
Right.
And you're sitting, like, your uncle comes in from out of town and sits down and you turn it on and you're like, okay, how long would it take you to explain the nuances of the rules?
I mean,
It's a little bit longer now. Like it used to,
yeah, it's
it used to be like you could explain the game in 30 seconds. And now it's like a if then Venn diagram, like flow chart of if this then that then this then that. So that when people are saying in the comment section, it's too complicated, and then people dogpile on them for saying what's complicated about it. It's like it kind of is.
Yeah, and some of those people that are bringing up those comments are newer to the sport,
Yeah.
I think, and I mean, some of them have blatantly said that, like, they only just started throwing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, unfortunately, right now, it's kind of people are trying to find different things to disagree about with the
That's true.
rules.
Yeah.
And if you're not going along, then
You're not getting along.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, I mean,
And the amount of stuff that is complainable, if you will. If you're not complaining about the addition of 4 additional bullseyes that aren't the same size as the original bullseye, it's a little bit bigger for the 5 ring, but not the small part in the middle, which is also a kill shot, and all this. Excuse me. Then it's the 90-10 amateur to advanced payouts, and if it's not that, then it's and the biggest one of them all is the 15-foot rule. So when it comes to the 15-foot, it definitely changes the dynamic of the game, and it there's several different nuanced aspects of why you can complain about it. From the venue owner, if you didn't initially set up your venue to be throwing from 15 feet, it causes a host of problems. If you're somebody that has a particular throwing style that it isn't really made for a 15-foot throw, then they have something to complain about. Then there's the complaint that can be made that says we're going to see less like female pros, female qualifiers in the advanced division because you added 3 more feet to the throw and things like that. So there's all sorts of complaints and everybody is definitely standing on their hill and willing to die on it. And so at the end of the day, is that going to create the decline in the sport eventually? Now, I suppose we need to make the distinction of decline in the sport and decline in the current throwers that we have. So I think that maybe WATL will lose some throwers because of it, but maybe they'll gain new throwers.
yeah, I mean, doesn't hurt to try, I suppose.
It might.
It might.
It might hurt a lot.
It might hurt very much. Painful.
It could be. But the comment section is pretty much my favorite thing on the internet. It's what I find myself doing when I'm not doing anything else. So
there's some drama on there sometimes. It's like a daytime soap opera.
So I did it turns out that the same drama exists in every kind of obscure sport. I don't want to call it obscure like, in the movie Dodgeball, but, it like smaller community sports. If you take a look at some of the pickleball forums, if you take a look at some of the cornhole forums, there's all sorts of interesting infighting that happens on those as well. So don't think we're unique in any way where people have an opinion about the game and the game moving forward.
I mean, people are always going to have an opinion.
Well,
That's,
right.
I mean, it's
Human.
yeah. But I don't know. I think it's either going to hit or it's not, and you might actually see the decline.
Yeah. Now, if I'm telling you something you already know because you were there, but for the people watching the podcast, I mean, we kind of, we had to have the sit down moment with our league throw. Now, there's a few of us, 4 of us that are competitive throwers. We seek out tournaments and compete regularly. 5 of us. But the rest of the people that round out our league, they're there to just throw. They want to throw, they want to drink beer, they want to laugh, and then we said, okay, well, we were explaining the start of the fall season. Hey, this is the last time you're going to see this board. So enjoy it, love the OG game that is axe throwing. And, well, what are you talking about? And so we went through and explained what next year's game was. And anecdotally, they weren't real happy. So, but that's just us.
But, I mean, and you got to factor in, like, a majority of the thrower, like I would say, like when you look at the leaderboards, maybe the top 500, 600 people are people that are actually going to tournaments, trying to be competitive, going for kill shots, things like that. The other 3,500 out of the 4,000 people are casual throwers. Mm-hmm. And that's a pretty good chunk of your throwers.
Sure. But so as a manager, league runner, do you think that there's room in the marketplace for, like having, I'm pretty much answering my own question inside my head as I'm asking it, but it's like, why not run that recreational beer league and keep things kind of OG, and then run the competitive league, but then you run into the problem where you might not have enough competitive throwers.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah. Because, ideally, you would run a beer league to keep those league members, keep those league membership fees coming in for your venue.
For the love of the game.
Yeah, for the love of the game.
Yeah.
But, you run the risk of maybe not having the bare minimum. And there are some venues where they might only have 10 throwers in their league.
Right.
And you got to have 6 at a minimum. Well, what if 7 of them are casual throwers?
Right.
What do? You gotta travel probably to another venue.
Yeah.
For us, I think it's at least an hour
and a half
each way.
Yeah.
To get to an affiliate venue.
That's right. Well, I guess the bottom line is we'll see next year, as the comments section has pointed out to us. You have anything else you want to add to that one? Or?
I think it will be interesting for Worlds. You're going to be throwing the old rules, but you're going to be, they said sometime in April, right? So you're going to be
4 months
into the new rules.
Right.
How's that going to affect people at Worlds?
I think going back to what is being claimed to be the easier game should be easier. Perhaps a more difficult and skillful game. And having gotten 4 months of that under your belt, when you go back to the old game, you're like, this is easy peasy. Like if you put up the old bullseye and those old 3-inch kill shots up on a board right now.
Oh, right. Yeah.
We would look like amazing.
I have a 64 almost
every game. Yeah. So, maybe it'll be like that.
I guess we'll just have to find out.
Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this week's episode.
Yeah. We will look forward to seeing you all next week. And good night. Good luck.
I do want to point out that we would like you to like, subscribe, share this podcast to all your fellow axe throwers, non-axe throwers, get them into the sport. You could find this podcast on anywhere that you like to listen to your podcasts. And if you like the visual sort of thing, we're going to be posting them up on YouTube and Rumble, and whatever platform will have us to get down to this real axe talk.
Very real.
Very real. All right, we'll see you next week, and I hope you guys are throwing well.
See you axholes later.
Bye.